You're listening to the Membership Geeks podcast, bringing you proven practical tips and advice from the leading experts on growing a successful membership business.
Hey everyone, thank you for joining me this week for another episode of the Membership Geeks podcast. I'm Mike Morrison, your host for the show and the founder of Membership Geeks and Membership Academy. Today I want to share 3 quick tips on how to get more people to come to your next live member call. So whether you do things like live Q&As, whether you do live workshops or kind of webinars for your members, whether it's a mastermind and office hours, live content works really, really well for getting members engaged within your membership. And depending on the format, you can deliver huge amounts of value without there being too much work involved on your part. If you're turning up to a Q&A, there's not really a lot you need to do other than setting the date and having someone on your team set the tech up for that call. Even if you're doing that part yourself, it doesn't take too long at all. And then you just show up and you answer questions. But that can enable you to deliver so much value on the fly with minimal preparation that it's a no-brainer in terms of adding value to your members, getting them engaged, getting them to actually get their answers and get value from your membership. However, what if nobody turns up? How do you get more people attending your live sessions? Okay, so there's 3 ways I'm going to share that you can do this. The first is to use a subscribable calendar. So there's a fantastic service called adevent.com that enables you to set up an events calendar where you can give the link to your members. You can also embed it in your member area. That then enables them to subscribe to that calendar so that whether they're using Google Calendar, whether they've got the calendar in Outlook, Apple Calendar, whatever it is, the events you add to it will automatically populate that calendar. They can also RSVP to individual events, and you can create buttons that you include in emails that you send out to your members to let them know about an upcoming event, to give them a reminder. You can have a button that, when clicked, will add that event to their calendar. So it's putting the reminder into their day-to-day workflow, onto their mobile device, into the things that are more likely to be open or in proximity to them on any given day than your membership website itself would be. So that's a real quick, easy way to increase attendance at your live sessions. Set up a subscribable events calendar, embed it in a location on your membership website, but also email the link out to your members so they can subscribe to it, so that all events that you add automatically get pulled in to their calendar. So they're getting reminders on their system, they're getting pop-up notifications, and it's all coming from the tools and the software that they already use to organize their life. That makes it far more likely that they'll remember and that they'll get the little nudges and alerts that will encourage them to actually come along live. So we use a service called adevent.com for that. We've used that for the best part of the last decade. And when we made the switch to starting using that a few years into running the academy, we saw event attendance jump up. So that's a really simple and quick thing that you can do. The second thing that I recommend that you do is invite new members as part of your new member onboarding. Make one of the first things you do be for you to invite them to their first live call. Quite often as part of member onboarding, when it comes to promoting our live events and letting them know, here's what's coming up, quite often we'll try to send them to our calendar. We'll tell them the next 3 or 4, and we'll say, make sure in your first month, come along to one of our upcoming live calls. Here's a link to the calendar to see those. Instead, you should be inviting them to just the next event, the really specific event that they should come to. So pick out one of the live things you do every month if it's something at the end of the month, or maybe you pick something out every week if you do weekly calls, and update your member onboarding to specifically give a call to action for that new member to come just to that call. If you send personal videos using tools like Bonjoro, which is something that we do. A lot of people in our community do this with their memberships as well. Again, that video you send out to people, you can use that to say, hey, welcome to the community. Just want to introduce myself. Hope you're settling in well. I really want to see you at our next live Q&A. So this is your invite. Make sure you come along. This is what's going to happen. And then give them a link to that specific event. That makes it far more likely people will actually do it because you're given a direct call to action. You're picking something specific. So maybe you do a few different types of live calls. Rather than saying, hey, come along to a live call, you are giving them the one hand-picked live call that you think they should come to. So, if you offer a coaching session where it's you coaching one member and everyone is watching that, then it might be not interactive enough for a new person's first experience with you live. If you have kind of casual member mixers that get a little bit rowdy and maybe a new member might feel like a bit of an outsider, then maybe that's not the one you invite them to, but perhaps you invite them along to the Q&A because there it's really easy to jump in. Maybe it's a bit more open, a bit more welcoming. So really think about any live sessions you do and then make it a part of your new member onboarding to specifically invite someone to one event that month within their first few weeks. This might mean updating your automated onboarding emails every single month to make sure that this invite is changed and it's relevant and specific. But hey, it'll be worth it if it means you get them into the habit of coming along to live calls. And here's a little tip. When you're inviting people, send a link to a replay of a past call because sometimes people won't come along because they don't know what to expect. But if you send them a link to a past call so they can rewatch it, then that's going to enable them to get a little familiarity with the format, to better understand what they're getting into, and it'll make them more likely to come. And my third tip, again, relates to those new members because getting your new members into the habit of coming along live is probably one of the most important things when it comes to increasing live attendance. Something that you can do is have a dedicated 10 to 15 minute slot at the start of your live sessions before the scheduled time. So let's just say your Q&A goes live at 7 p.m. for everyone to turn up to. You could actually start it 15 minutes early and have that first 15 minutes exclusively for first-time attendees. Whether they are brand new members to your website or just someone coming along to a live session for the very first time, that can be your newbie 15 minutes. Give it a fancy name, give it a cool name, but really carve that out as a dedicated time for someone who is either new to the membership or has never been to a live call before, for them to get in early, for them to be able to have their questions asked and put at the top of the list. So they're the first questions you answer once the actual main event kicks in. Also, it's an opportunity for them to connect with you with a smaller crowd around. It's an opportunity for them to meet their other fellow first-timers so that when the doors open for everyone else to come in, they've already had an opportunity to settle in. It's kind of like if you've ever been to a business networking event or social mixers and things like that in the real world, you will often find this kind of thing going on. And even if you don't, if you've ever been to one of those breakfast networking meetings, it's always so much easier being the person who's already in the room as others start appearing one by one, because you feel a little more comfortable, because you ease into things versus turning up and seeing a crowd already convened, everyone's already talking to each other, everyone's laughing, and you feel like you're on the outside trying to find an opportunity to break in. That can be off-putting. That can stop you getting involved. You then become an observer rather than a participant. By having a designated 10 to 15 minute newbie period before the advertised start time of your sessions, that can really, really make experiencing that first call far less daunting, far more inviting for someone who otherwise might be put off coming along to your live sessions. So those are just 3 tips on how to increase attendance at your live calls within your membership. If you're an Academy member, we do have an entire masterclass in there on how to level up your live sessions. Some of these tips are the final tip there about the newbie section. That's not actually in the masterclass because this is something that I kind of just solidified the idea of recently, and it was one of those little moments where I thought, how in the heck have I not thought of this already in the last decade or so? But that masterclass not only talks about how to increase attendance at your live sessions, but also how to structure them, how to get more out of the replays, how to get more questions asked, setting up your reminders and nudges and all that sort of stuff to take your live member calls to a whole new level. But if you're not an Academy member, then hopefully the tips I've shared today has given you at least one fresh idea for something you could do ahead of your next live member call in order to get more people to them. Because, of course, the more people coming to our calls, the more people interacting, participating, and getting value from your membership, the more likely it is that we have a more successful member base. People are getting what they pay for because they're using what they pay for. And if people are using what they pay for, they're less likely to go and cancel it. So hopefully this has helped you. If you have any particular techniques, tactics that you utilize that have worked particularly well for increasing attendance at your live calls, I'd always love to hear ideas. I always love to geek out about memberships with others in the field. So hit me up at social media at Membership Geeks. Or if you're in the Academy, then you know we're always there in the community chatting about this kind of stuff. So share what is working for you in terms of live call attendance in there as well. That's it from me. Thanks so much for listening. I'll be back again next week with another episode of the Membership Geeks podcast. Bye for now.
If you enjoyed this week's episode of the Membership Geeks podcast, we invite you to check out membershipacademy.com. Membership Academy is the original membership about memberships, and it's the essential resource for anyone at any stage of starting, growing, and running a successful online membership business. Whether you're still trying to figure out what your idea is going to be and you need some help making it a reality, or whether your website is already up and running and you're looking for ways to grow and attract new members, then Membership Academy can help you to get to the next level. Not only do you get access to our step-by-step membership roadmap, our extensive training library, and exclusive member-only discount and tools, you'll also become part of our supportive, active community of membership owners that will help you along the way in your journey with feedback, encouragement, and advice. All of this and more make Membership Academy the #1 place to be for anyone looking to start, manage, and grow a successful membership business. Check it out and join the community at membershipacademy.com.